Welcome to the Homeschool Together podcast. Where one working mom and a stay-at-home dad help you navigate the nuts and bolts of the growing and dynamic world of homeschooling.
With a focus on early learners, like me.
All the ins and outs of building and maintaining your homeschool life.
Homeschool.
Find out tips and tricks to make things like this easier.
I'm reading.
And ultimately, enjoy educating your kids. And what's that last thing?
Have fun together. Did I do good, Daddy?
Yeah, you did, sweetie. Good job. Hello and welcome back to Homeschool Together. Thank you for joining us. If you have a chance, head down into the show notes and get links to all of our things, especially our YouTube channel, where we are putting out videos every week, and our vlogging and all the fun things that we like to do there. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, help us out as well. And obviously we're into the summer, and you may know a family who's starting homeschooling and doing all the fun things. We have put out a bunch of episodes in the last week or two, couple weeks, that may help them. And so we hopefully that you can share those around. That's the best way to support the podcast, is to tell the other people about it, or tell them about the YouTube channel as well. That is there.
Right. And we, as new families are finding us, one of the things that we really love to do is to have these homeschool journey interviews so that new families can hear, like, what's a real day like in the life of a homeschooler? Maybe what, if you're a first-year homeschooler, what's been your first year like as you're now kind of wrapping up this first school year, if you're going by that calendar? And what was that experience like? So if that sounds like something that you would feel comfortable talking with us about, we would love to have you on the show. Just go ahead and email us at homeschooltogetherpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know. It is a super relaxed interview process.
Oh yeah, on homeschoolerinterviews.com, we rate at least a 4.9 out of 4 stars.
So
all the previous interviewers,
it's I know it's a lot to put yourself out there, especially like you have most, I would say 99% of the people that we interview that are homeschoolers that we interview have never done anything like this before. So I know it takes a lot to put yourself out there, but your experience and hearing about the individual things that go well and don't in your homeschool, and what it looks like for you and what it means to you, that is so invaluable. Like I can't express to you how important it is for other people to hear these regular experiences. And we hear from homeschoolers who are like, well, I'm nothing special. My family's we're just homeschooling. It's like, it doesn't need to be something extraordinary, because just showing kind of what it's like gives other people an idea, and they might see glimpses of their own homeschool. So I think it's a super, super valuable thing to do. We really appreciate everyone who's willing to do it. So if that sounds like something that you might not hate, go ahead and give us a call, or an email rather. Don't give us a call. We don't have a hotline or anything.
1-800-HOMESCHOOL.
I know, we don't have a hotline. Coming 2026. No. But we really do appreciate that. And as new folks find us over the summer, if we can add some homeschooler interviews, homeschool journey interviews, that's just really great. So that's my little pitch. If anybody feels like they might be up for that, we appreciate it. So
absolutely. So today we're going to give a little idea. And, whenever we come into the summer, we're at the end of our homeschool. A lot of us go through the calendar year. A lot of us homeschool year round. But the summer is always, that time where things wind down, whether it's, the preschool classes for the youngins are done, or the dance classes and the sports have all come to an end. Or
we're not speaking from any personal experience at all.
And all of a sudden you find yourself with a little bit extra time and throughout the week.
And hopefully some good weather.
Absolutely. And so, you may be thinking about, what should I do? What are we going to do? So we always like to talk about what we're doing. Not that that's what you should do, but it's just an example of kind of, giving you ideas and things. And for me, I'm always about theming things. I like to theme things. You like to plan things. I like to theme things.
Well, I like themes and plans, so I think it dovetails well. Yeah,
it does dovetail as well. So I always like to try, last month of school, I always try to think like, okay, what am I going to do with these kids through the summer?
And to preface this, we do homeschool year round. It comes to our math and our reading, we just keep trucking along. And, you talked a couple weeks ago about, starting this this new study, Trekking the World, our social studies that we're going to be doing for this next year. I'm testing Trekking the World, but I'm just testing it out.
Yeah, we're testing it.
We're testing it. So, we're going to be still doing those normal things, but you're right. We have so much more time now. And so it's like, well, what do we do with some of that extra? How do we keep these kids, fulfilled, their cups filled over the summer?
Because a lot of times when you turn that, like for us with the parent partnership, we have all these classes that we take that are fun and they're, extracurricular activities. And all of a sudden you just go, whoop, and it turns off.
Right.
And all of a sudden you start to get the ship cruise director thing. Hey, Daddy, what are we doing today? What are we doing? What are we doing? How many sleeps until
next?
Oh yeah, what's next? What's next? And so a lot of times I feel like, oh my gosh, I have to fill a lot of time. And so this year, last year I kind of did like an outdoors thing with like hiking and trying to learn about the trees of the Pacific Northwest.
Which was hard with a 4-year-old.
It was hard with a 4-year-old. And so I think coming off of our trip to Florida that we did in April, I've realized I can do a lot more things with these kids, and I feel a lot more confidence like going on bigger trips, like driving an hour and a half to go do something and having it fill up the day. And so something that I'm going to be doing, my first thing that I'm going to be doing with them is actually just going on a lot more journeys with them through the day, being able to get out early in the morning, get in the car, turn on a movie, put on the headphones, listen to an audiobook and enjoy that little bit of time. And then when we get to a destination and be able to do something, we have a lot of cool towns. I can go over the mountains fairly quickly and be on the other side of the mountains, do something and then drive back. Having a little bit more of a larger trips instead of just leaving it to like what's in town or, down the road, maybe a half hour away, actually taking a little bit more trips, day trips with the kids is something that I have not done before and is something that this summer I'm eagerly looking forward to. Now, I'm not going to plan on doing that like every day or multiple times a week or anything like that. That might be like twice a month, maybe once a month if it's a really big trip, but it's definitely something I'm going to layer in as kind of like a really big activity. We already have a lot of activities going on this summer. I mean, our summer isn't completely devoid of activities. We have a lot of camping trips. I know our oldest has a couple overnight camping trips, and we have camps for basketball and volleyball. Basketball just finished. We're about to do volleyball next week, and we have potentially another sport that we're layering in. We're going to see if that comes through. So like we have other things going on. So I can't really like do these big trips every other day or whatnot.
Yeah.
But really taking advantage of the opportunities to get out. One of the big things that I like the last week, it's strawberry season around here, and took them out, you pick farms around the area and picking out berries and stuff. And we have strawberry, we have raspberry season, we have blueberry season, I know they're all sprinkled. They're all sprinkled through the summer. We have a bunch of pick farms around the area as well. So I'm definitely going to layer in that, but some of those will require us to kind of journey out to go do that.
Right. Well, we've been talking about going to the zoo, a few things. Now, there's a
bunch of museums. A friend of mine had a class this past year where they go on a lot of trips, and he was telling me about a couple places down in Tacoma. And Tacoma for us would be, about an hour and a half drive for us to go down there. And there's a couple cool little museums and stuff down there that he really recommended. And I'm starting to think about, okay, yeah, I can definitely do that. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, well, and tagging up with other families too, and kind of, there's a couple of homeschool families like, hey, maybe we tag team, we all go to that museum. Or it is the time of year where we have to share museums with other people, which is really not like the choice time for homeschoolers to use the museums. But because we have such a kind of a busy school year time with our parent partnership,
really do.
This is a good time. And it's also a time when people, even though some of this stuff is really busy, it's also for us, especially in the Pacific Northwest, this is like prime weather time.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of people are out of town, or like they're going camping, they're out hiking.
They go over the mountains to camping on the
they're doing a bunch of stuff outside. Yeah. So it's actually not like maybe terrible museum time for us. So
well, and also with the confidence of being able to handle the kids, I feel a lot more confident grabbing somebody else's kid as well. Not in a legal way, but
snatch a kid.
Kid. But like my daughter has friends and whatnot, and being able to bring along a friend as well, and then having the confidence to be able to manage not just, my 2 children, but more than that. I have a lot more confidence now in doing that. I do a lot of ride sharing for the schools and activities and whatnot. So I feel pretty confident bringing someone else's child along, especially if it's like an hour away or something of that nature. I feel like I can do that confidently and keep it safe, and protect everybody and whatnot, and then have a good time and then return home.
Right.
And at least with my daughters, they do enjoy being with their friends.
Yeah, they sure do.
And providing that experience, I think, is a good thing. I don't know if I talked about it last year, but I do. There's all these really cheap movies that are in town, and so like sometimes I'll bring I'll bring like 2 or 3 kids with me. It's a $2 movie to get the kids in, and for me that's like nothing. Like, okay, I'll bring a bunch of kids to have a fun experience.
Oh yeah, they have
together.
So much fun, and
it's a cheap date, with 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah, look at your local movie theater. Oftentimes they will have some sort of a kids special during the summer that'll be a couple bucks for kids movies that are usually a few years old.
Yeah,
and they have different themes and things. So definitely check that out. There's oftentimes like movies in the park or other community events. I think that's the second thing we wanted to talk about a bit is community events that are going on. There's a lot happening, especially as we said, this is like the great weather time. So, we've got a few things we're looking forward to. The Renaissance Fair here is not very far from our home. And so we're pretty darn excited that that's coming. We also have like music in the park. We've got bands and things. There is the state fair happens.
Towards the end of the summer, yeah.
Right. And
that's kind of like the capstone of the summer.
It is. And there's a few great parades and things. And this last year we definitely ventured out and said like, hey, let's do more community events. Let's brave the crowds.
We had a lot of fun, and that really kind of like spurred us to look beyond what the normal things. You kind of get stuck into those like 7 or 8 things you always do, like oh, we're going to go to this jumpy house, or we're going to go to this park, or we're going to go to this thing, and you tend to like just like hit those same things, and it can get kind of stagnant. And you're right, last year we started to branch out, and so we encourage you guys to look out beyond your normal stuff and try to see if there's something new and fresh and exciting that can maybe bring in another, more fun experiences and just learn more about your local area. And
not just in your town. We've got like another town near us. They have like a festival every summer, and we haven't really gone before. But last year you happened to be there for something else to help out another person set up as a vendor. And you're like, oh, there's a parade there and there's all these things. And so we're going to be doing
live music. Yeah,
we're going to try to do more community events, which is also going to dovetail really well with our world trekking, globe-trotting thing as we go and study our different countries, because there's things like the Highland Games are going on, and there's an Italian-American festival, and there's a bunch of different cultural things happening that we're going to try to lean into if we can and get the experience to go to. So, look at not just, in your town, but, see what the city events pages are for, towns all around you. Because one of the things I find is that this stuff isn't very well advertised.
Yeah, that's
like we happen to know about it because we've lived here 6 years in this little town.
Well, this year we got the brochure, and it's sitting on the fridge right now.
But that's just for our little town.
Yeah, we're always checking like, oh yeah, look what's coming up.
And the next town's only 20 minutes away. Yeah. We could definitely,
we could hit all of them. Yeah,
we could go to their stuff too, and go to their community events if they have cool parades or whatever happening. And so I think it's just really getting out and looking at all the things in your community, because at least for us,
and a lot of times
there's not a good central page to like find all this stuff.
A lot of times these things are free to attend. Obviously, if you go to like a fair or something like that, you're going to drop some money on food and drinks and stuff like that. But to attend them, it's pretty much, maybe you might have a parking fee or something like that, but it tends to be fairly affordable to go to. Yeah,
a lot of towns have parades and stuff, and our kids love a good parade.
They love a good parade.
so those are some fun ththings that we're hoping to do this summer. The other thing you talked about, our daughter going to be doing some camps this summer, and so one of the things, I'm a Girl Scout leader, so we do that. But
cheers to you.
Yeah. There are like camps that are filled with people who work for the Girl Scouts, which are very expensive summer camps. And then there are these things called community camps. So if you're new into scouting, a community camp is run by adult volunteers, and by they have teenagers who actually lead the younger groups of girls, and those are significantly cheaper to attend. So they have day camps and overnight camps and all kinds of things. So definitely check that out. If you haven't heard of a community camp before, that's another option. So if you do any scouting, And we're also going to be doing some badge work this summer because we have a few badges that our daughter's interested in earning. But they also, your local council, if you're Boy Scouts or I guess it's now Scouts of America, or Girl Scouts or Campfire Kids or whatever, your local it's called a council for us. I'm not sure what it's called in the other scoutings, but it's whoever runs your local area usually has like fun patch programs. They're not badges exactly. They're not like skills based, but they are something fun to learn about. They're almost like little unit studies. Yeah. It's like I signed up for one. It's a survivalist challenge thing that's happening in the fall, and all summer you learn all the different things that go into surviving, which our daughter's super into.
She's super into.
And we're already working on that. And then there was another one that I saw that I signed up for, which was teas around the world. Our daughter is very into tea. It's just funny. I don't know if this is like an 8-9-year-old thing, but she and all her little friends, they're all into tea. So whenever they get together, if there is coffee and tea being served, they all like go to the tea table and they all talk about tea and they all make tea. And I think it's like them wanting to feel grown up, and of course none of us will let them have coffee, so they're like herbal teas because we're not even gonna let them have caffeine teas. So they just feel really grown up. Oh, I'm having my mint herbal tea today, and
while
I'm
they
having
scarf down their snacks.
Yeah, but I mean it's funny because every time these kids see each other, if there's coffee and tea, man, they are on the tea. So anyway, this was a tea around the world and learning about how tea is grown and harvested and all the different things about it, and that's a patch. There's another one we signed up for that is all about the Olympics. It's all about the Olympic Games coming up, and then we can learn about that, and then there's a patch. So if you're in any kind of scouting, look up, there's some great Facebook groups on like fun Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts fun patch programs and stuff. So if you're looking for cool things to do, and I like that the Olympics one, for example, it's a cool little patch, but it's like a unit study that they give you. They're like, okay, research an athlete, research how they, how they started in their sport, watch the games that they're in, look at the history of that sport. It's all these steps. I'm like, this was like I paid $5 and they're going to ship me the patch. So this was almost a free unit study.
That's awesome.
With paying for a patch.
Did you have to prove that you were a Girl Scout, or
Nope.
can this is just kind of open to anyone?
It's open to anyone. And that's the other thing that I would say, even if you are not a scout, but you like patches, you want to put them on a backpack or, anything really, a hat, it doesn't really matter, a jacket, you could participate in some of this stuff. So if you want to look at scouting patches and things that you can get, they are not specifically Girl Scout things. I mean, some of them are sold by the Girl Scout shop, but there are tons of online folks selling patches for all different kinds of things. And our kids love to collect patches, so maybe your kids would like that too. And there's just a ton of great opportunities out there.
So we were talking about activities and challenging ourselves to go out and see what's in the community, and maybe even do some stretch activities out further. You're talking about, doing these kind of fun unit study type of things with patches and whatnot. Very often making use of things outside and doing activities outside. We're talking about camps and things of that. Like that. One other thing that I'm doing this year, and we're all doing, we invested a little bit into bikes, and we got some kayaks for the young girls. And believe it or not, our little 4-year-old, 5-year-old loves kayaking.
She does.
She's very good at it.
And you can get a kid's kayak. It's like $100.
Yeah.
It's very cheap. A lifetime. We'll put a link in the show notes. Yeah. It's a super cute little 6-foot. And then we've got our daughter one that was just a little bit more. It's a 6.5-foot.
Yeah, the older one. Yeah, and
I could technically do the 6.5-foot.
Yeah, you're on the poundage there. And then we got 2 little life vests for them, and then we have our stand-up paddle boards.
Right. And we got a really cool, we'll put this in the show notes, because we got a really cool paddleboard pump. If you don't have an electric paddleboard pump, oh my gosh, this is stuff.
If you're out there pumping it like you're, John Henry working on the line type of thing.
I can't actually fully pump mine up. I mean, I can get close, but when we gets toward the end, like I have to have you do it. So
we got an electric one, and I'll put it in the show notes. I guess for like $60, fills it up amazingly.
Worth every penny.
We went ahead and got invested in some outdoor stuff, and the girls have always had bikes, but we haven't had bikes, and so we have some really nice paved trails around here, and we're gonna start riding on the trail, and we're gonna to enjoy that, and then we're also take advantage of some of the nice lakes that we have here, and go paddling and kayaking on those as well, and I want to really like push myself to like get the girls to do this with me and have a good time.
Well, they like to bike ride too.
They do?
And one of the things for us, because we just went through this entire journey of finding bikes, because
Oh my gosh.
we'd had them when we were younger, and then they ended up getting old. We ended up giving them things away, and then we ended up at this situation where the kids had bikes and we did not. And we needed to find bikes. And after doing a lot of research and wanting something that was just, bikes can go from like the cheapest thing at Walmart to thousands and thousands of dollars. And if you go to a bike shop, like, it's really hard to get something.
The bike shops will have like the really nice premium bikes there.
They will, and I'm just not at the level to spend the money for a premium bike. But I do want something above, like, we just went to Walmart or Target and bought this bike.
Yeah.
So we did a bunch of research and we bought bikes from Kent, and we've been really happy with those. Our daughter has one from there. We did have a piece get broken in shipping, and they like immediately sent us a new piece the next day. They were really great.
Well, what was cool is I actually went to my local bike shop and I brought them the bike, and I said, "Hey, I put this thing together. 99% chance I did something wrong, and is there something way you can like take a look at what I did?" And they did that for like $50. They called it a safety check.
Yep.
At least our bike shop did, and I think others will do this as well.
Yeah.
And they will basically go over the bike, oil everything up, check everything, make sure everything's put together correctly, make sure it's all tip top, check the brakes and everything. And it was like $50. And I'm like, heck yeah.
Yeah, because you do have to assemble a bike. They come mostly together. But there's a few pieces you have to put on.
Yeah.
But we found that the pricing for Kent was
pretty affordable.
Was pretty reasonable to get like a nice medium quality on the normal people, not avid biker scale. So
I just want to ride down the trail.
Right. If you're like, I want to ride on the weekend with my kids person, this is the medium level we thought was like. So we'll put a link in there, and then definitely take it to your bike shop to have that done. And I think that's true for any pieces of equipment, right? If you ski or whatever, like, you should always take them in every year and
definitely wear a helmet. Wear a helmet.
Matt fell like the very first day on his bike,
if anyone's seen that viral video from Gordon Ramsay, where he talked about falling and showed his bruise on his abdomen, that was pretty nasty.
Yeah, you didn't have one that bad.
And I didn't have but he definitely said, he goes, it saved his life. Otherwise he would have been in some real trouble. So definitely wear the helmet.
You smacked your head right away, so
and thank goodness I had a helmet on. So,
right.
So we were talking about going out and doing things. We've talked about unit studies. We've talked about a little bit more activity.
So the other thing that we wanted to talk a little bit about was sports. So sports do calm down during the summer, right? Everything seems to kind of stop.
There's kind of obviously baseball is the summer sport. They do have summer baseballs and things like that. Yeah,
we don't know anything about the baseballs.
No.
So we don't have anything there. And softball just ended this week. So now we are limited to mostly the girls' sports. But what I do know is that if you check your local like Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, if you have a local aquatic center, they will often have short stints of classes. This is the same for like our local dance studio. They're having short, 5-week classes. So you will find, if you are looking for, like, I know our kids are going to dearly miss their kind of regular activities that they can count on, like, oh, it's Thursday and that's dance class. I know that they're going to really miss that. So if your kids feel similarly, or I think this is an awesome time to try out something that you're not sure if you really want to commit to. Like, they have these short dance classes, or they have like summer swim team at our aquatic center, which is only a few weeks long. They're having summer track and field this year at our Boys and Girls Club, which is only like 4 weeks long. So it's a great opportunity for a lower cost when the stakes are much lower to just dabble and try things out. So if you have sports or other activities you've been interested in getting into, this is always a nice time to try.
Well, and also it's just a nice reminder. I think we're going to do an episode coming up about sports.
Yeah,
we'll go more in depth with it. But right now, if you are planning for getting your children into sports for the first time, very often those like soccer, volleyball, basketball, things, sports like that, the registrations will be starting to open now. So
right, for fall.
In the summer. So I always think about it as like a season ahead. So if you're looking for what sports is my child going to play in the fall, those sports will open up registration likely in the summer. So definitely make sure you keep your mind open if you're thinking about, I'm going to see if Susie or Johnny wants to play sport this year. And for the first time, those registrations will likely start now. So we've jumped on potentially another basketball season here in the summer for our oldest daughter and see if she...
Yeah, there's a wait list.
There's a little bit of a wait list, but hopefully we'll be able to get in. And we got a little late to that one. but we're going to hopefully maybe add a little bit more sports in just to keep the activity up. But for us this summer, I want to enjoy being outside, doing things, going places, being active. And that's kind of my theme for the summer is really just like doing outdoor stuff with the kids and being active. I just don't want to be so cooped up. I mean, we're getting, it's like kind of funny because my parents just got back from Florida and they're like, oh my gosh, it was 100 degrees out. And it was horrible. And I'm like, wow, it was 50 this morning. So, the Pacific Northwest is a little different. We're just getting to the end of January as we are recording this now. And our summer is about to start. Our summer doesn't start till the 4th of July. And sometimes. And from the 4th of July on until almost October, it's beautiful. We don't get any rain and it's really nice. And not saying that's not nice through the spring here, but we do get get a lot of rain and a lot of gray skies and stuff. It's going to rain tonight, but and it does stay pretty cool. It finally starts to warm up here in the next week or so. For us, I know you probably all get in this episode and it's like, why are you dropping this in July? Summer's already been started. Well, we're not even starting summer for here until maybe a week or two from now. So
it's not been a bad June.
It's not okay. It's been a pretty rainy June, but rainier than last year.
It's been okay.
Yeah.
So the other big thing we're doing this summer, we've talked about the fact that we're starting with this country study that we're doing. Yep. So that's kind of the big piece that we're adding in. So you've heard all about that in detail on the previous episode. But what I wanted to cover here was just if there's something that you want to start or try out, or summer is just this great kind of loose time, and I don't know what it is. I think it's even our attitudes are looser. We've had our first
the days are longer. You're getting outside more.
Yeah, we're just more relaxed about everything. I'm more relaxed about the country study and what we're doing, and it's a great time to try things out because usually you're not as busy. We tend to always be pretty busy during the summer, but it's a great time to try new things. Hey, pick up a month unit study and do that. Or, I was interested in starting a new curriculum. Maybe I'll start and you can just dabble. It's a great way to just slowly ramp up before you kind of really get going. Because the fall, even if we homeschool year round, for some reason the fall feels like when we all just kind of like buckle down. It's like, okay, it's time to really do school now. I don't know why. I think it's all the back to school sales and all that stuff. And it's just... the air starts to turn cooler and so you're inside more and you just feel like, okay, it's school time. I don't know the way that feeling is, but that's how it is for us. So summer is an awesome time to try something new or dabble. Especially
if you are a homeschooler out there, if you're listening to this podcast and you're just starting, if you're going to start in September.
Yeah, don't wait.
Don't wait. Start now. There's no reason to... just like everybody says, the best day to start something is today and the next best day is tomorrow. So if you're starting to get into homeschooling and you want to kind of ease into it a little bit, now is the great time to do it. Don't wait till September when you just you're going to start on September 15th, we're going to start. And
that's going to be your first day of school. And we're going to do all 5 subjects, right? The first day.
Yeah,
no, just
ease into it.
Add one thing. And if you're a first time homeschooler, I highly recommend that you kick off everything with a unit study. Don't kick it off with a full curriculum that's 36 weeks. I've done that. We've done that.
We have done that.
And yes. I just don't think that that's the best way to go. I think you'd be much better off finding something that you and your children are interested in.
Something achievable.
Very achievable. Something you're interested in. It only takes a few weeks, and you can just kind of get your sea legs before you're really kind of going into this. Because once you get into a 36-week curriculum, it might take you 4 weeks to find your sea legs, and by then you're like, and now I'm trying to keep up, and we're behind on our weeks, and these things took longer, and oh gosh, I thought we'd be able to do this much, but we can only do this much, and then you feel like you're kind of like behind the 8 ball. If you do something short with no stakes, then I think that's a much better way to start. And the summer is the perfect time to do that.
Absolutely. So hopefully, as we have talked through what we are doing, not that you should do any of that, but just to give you a window into our thinking, hopefully that can, teach a person to fish. I think is best. So if you're thinking about things to do this summer,
are we saying that we're expert fishermen?
No.
Is that an Olympic sport yet?
No, no. But you can get a college scholarship at Kansas State for. I knew that. It's like somebody said that guy has a full ride scholarship to the fishing team.
Wow.
In college.
That's kind of an amazing thing.
And he probably has an NIL contract and he's paying some bills with it.
Well, that's fantastic.
That's fantastic. Anyway, We're digressing. Hope you guys
enjoy your summer, y'all.
Hope you guys having a good time. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time,
Happy homeschooling!